This program is brought to you by the Vegetarian Society of Hawaii, a nonprofit organization dedicated to sharing with the community the many benefits of a vegetarian diet. Free monthly meetings include vegetarian experts found locally and on the mainland, quick and easy cooking demonstrations, and healthful and delicious food samples. Members enjoy an informative quarterly newsletter, social activities, and discounts at many vegetarian-friendly restaurants and health food stores. For an application, call 944-8344. That's 944-8344. Or visit our website at www.vsh.org. vsh.org.
Aloha and welcome to the monthly public presentation of the Vegetarian Society of Hawaii. Since 1990, the Vegetarian Society of Hawaii has been following our mission of promoting human health, animal rights, and protection of the environment by means of vegetarian education as we've grown to become one of the largest all-volunteer, nonprofit vegetarian societies in the nation. We'd like to encourage those of you who are not yet members, and even those of you who are not yet vegetarians, to become a member of the Vegetarian Society tonight. You'll receive an informative newsletter as well as discounts on Oahu, Maui, Kauai, and the Big Island at many vegan and vegetarian-friendly restaurants, businesses, and groceries, such as at down-to-earth, organic, and natural stores. Please remember that if you spend just $10 a week in groceries or on eating out, you'll be saving money. And that's at the 5% level. At the 10% level, you don't even have to, it'll be a lot less. We're also supporting events such as tonight's, which are not only made possible, but free to the community as well through your membership dues and donations. We're also happy tonight to announce that Vegan Essentials, an online vegan product store, has just started offering a 5% discount to VSH members. So your membership card is very valuable. You can also enjoy some really wonderful popular social events, such as the delightful one we had with last month's speaker, T. Colin Campbell, PhD, and Mrs. Campbell at Govinda's, where 150 diners ate a vegan buffet of Southeast Asian themed dinner dishes based on the China Study cookbooks. Our biggest, by the way, and most anticipated dining event of the year is coming next week. It's our all-vegan VSH pre-Thanksgiving buffet dinner. It'll be on Friday, November 21st at McCoy Pavilion at Ala Moana Beach Park, with seatings every 15 minutes from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. It's going to be a mouth-watering traditional vegan buffet with everything from mock turkey and savory herb stuffing to homemade pumpkin pie and holiday spice cake. It's a great event to go to on your own or with your family, and keiki up to age 7 that go free. You're also welcome to come to our free Imagine a Vegan World support group every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. at the Central YMCA on Atkinson Drive. Please see Terry Bear for details. I'd also like to thank all of our great meeting volunteers tonight. We have Fred Foster, Dr. Fred Foster at the reception table. We've got Patrick and Cyrilak at the free literature table. We've got Dr. Bill Harris at the camcorder here. Dr. Carl Seff, he's hosting, I guess, our speaker and bringing her lovely lei too, and he does so many other things. It would take too long all night to list them. And I think he needs some help in the kitchen tonight. We also have Patrick Conair, who distributes our flyers. And there's Matt, who does our Facebook page. Lulu Say, who never comes because she lives too far away, but she tweets for us on Twitter, and we're always grateful for her. So if you'd like to join this great group of volunteers and having a wonderful time while making a positive contribution to the world, please see me before you go tonight. I'd also like to thank Down to Earth for providing the delicious vegan refreshments that we'll be having tonight, so please stay and to enjoy them. Please note that you can view tonight's talk on our VSH program, Vegetarian, on public access channels across the state, as well as on our website, www.vsh.org, many of our previous presentations, where you'll also find many other resources, including our famous dining guide. It's now time for our special guest. We're delighted to have with us tonight Ann Dinshah. Ann Dinshah co-authored the book Powerful Vegan Messages with her late father, H.J. Dinshah, the founder of the American Vegan Society, updating his pioneering writings on compassionate living for today's world. She has a Bachelor of Arts degree in American Studies from the University of Notre Dame and a Master's of Education degree in Sports Administration from the University of Texas. A professional rowing coach, and is like the girl next door who just happens to be a lifelong vegan who can also host a dinner party that anyone can enjoy. And is also the author of Dating Vegans and Healthy Hearty Helpings, and co-author of Apples, Bean Dip, and Carrot Cake Kids. Teach Yourself to Cook with her mother, Dinshah, the current president of the American Vegan Society. And Dinshah's presentation tonight is entitled, Will Veganism Give You Health, Wealth, and Wisdom? We'll see. Please join me in welcoming Ann Dinshah.
So much for practicing. Didn't work. You can do whatever adjustments you want as we go along.
So today I went for a hike to the Cocoa Crater, and I had a wonderful map, and I had on some good hiking shoes, and I was pretty excited to get going. I had my camera and I really liked taking pictures. But unfortunately, I hadn't asked enough questions on how to get there. So I was hiking up and down a 4-lane road, not quite in the paradise that I was hoping for. I thought that the crater must be somewhere around here. My friend had said, "You'll see the crater. It'll be wonderful." But I hadn't asked enough questions. It was just a lot of green over on a mountain, and it was over there somewhere. And so yes, I did finally find the crater and have a good time. But I think that's kind of my mission here today, is to help people to learn about veganism, to learn to ask the right questions, or just to enjoy hearing some stories and getting a little bit more ideas to help fill out that map. The talk is titled, Will Veganism Bring You Health, Wealth, and Wisdom? My father said, I can only do what I can do, but I can do it every day. The magazine American Vegan used to be titled Ahimsa when he was the editor. Ahimsa means non-harming. It's a beautiful Sanskrit word. But for him, Ahimsa was not enough. So he said that you needed to do dynamic harmlessness. So have both the negative non-harming side of Ahimsa and the positive action side. So dynamic harmlessness means to do the least harm and the most good. But how does one know what to do? He was 23. His brother was only 20. They were lacto-vegetarians, and they were having an argument with their father about whether what they were doing was really ethical. So their father dared them to tour a slaughterhouse in Philadelphia. I'd like to read to you what he wrote about that day. Jay said, "Upon emerging from that windowless house of horrors, I disposed of my blood-saturated shoes. I threw every stitch of clothing into the wash. I bathed profusely in an effort to remove the clinging fragrance of that charnel house. Even so, it seemed I could not rid my nostrils of the awful stench for weeks thereafter. Decades have passed since that melancholy day, but the repugnance of those sights and smells is still well etched in memory. While clothes and skin can be washed clean in time, what soaps can we use to cleanse the conscience? Which superfortified detergent shall we use to scrub the soul, pure and clean. Jay made a vow that day, I will work every day until all the slaughterhouses are closed. That slaughterhouse in Philadelphia was called Cross Brothers. I was invited to go there to get my picture taken for the Philadelphia Daily News. But it was hard to find the slaughterhouse because it's no longer in business. It's just an old shell of a building, brick building, but it's in a northern section of Philadelphia where people bustle by it every day. So I learned a little bit about its history. I learned that Joe Frazier, a well-known boxer, had gotten in shape by punching cow carcasses and carrying half a cow around. It was the inspiration for the Rocky movie. There was a scene of Rocky also punching cow carcasses. I asked my friend Susan, who I coach in rowing, what does one wear to get your picture taken for the Philadelphia Daily News? And so, of course, she wanted to know why I was having my picture taken. So I told her about the book, Powerful Vegan Messages. She told me that her uncle used to work at that slaughterhouse, and as a child, she had dined on the meat. It was a well-run slaughterhouse. Only the best kosher meat came through there. The animals were treated well, relatively, and it was a good place to work. Her uncle was well paid for his educational level, and it was one of the best places to get a job at that time in that area. But my friend Susan bought 10 copies of Powerful Vegan Messages to share with her book club, and she's learning about veganism now. When I asked the man on the street where the slaughterhouse is located, he said he had no idea. I asked him about the brick building on the corner. He said it's just always been in his neighborhood. He did not know what that building used to be. The building may be closed, but it really just relocated to the Midwest, closer to where the cows are being raised. It's all about supply and demand. The building is really still open, relocated, because people are still demanding its contents with their dollars. My dream is that someday I ask the man on the corner about the slaughterhouse, and he says, "What's a slaughterhouse?" Because someday they will truly all be closed. We all do what we know until somebody challenges us or some experience challenges us to do something different.
So one of the things that I did was, for a year, I dated men who are not vegan. And I learned from them as much as they learned from me. So during this journey, one of the men that I dated, he took a look at my closet and he noticed that the clothes that I had were more for hanging out in my cabin in Western New York, hiding out, than for actually going out on the town with him. And since he loved shopping, he said, "Hey, let's go shopping and find some really cool clothes for you to wear when we go out and about." So I figured, well, who knows better what looks good on me than a guy who's dating me. So I take him up on the offer and we go out shopping.
But I didn't realize that I was really going to learn as much as I taught. One particular friend named Robert, we hit it off really well on our first date. On the second date, we decided to go dancing. But he's really into theater and clothes, and he wanted to make sure that I was dressed appropriately for the outing, because he knew that I actually live in a small cabin in Western New York, where t-shirts and sweatshirts are pretty common. So I invited him to look at my closet, where he determined that I had absolutely nothing suitable to wear on the dance floor in Columbus, Ohio. I wound up wearing a lacy black number from his closet. The next week, we went shopping together.
He noticed that I neglected something that he had put in the pile. It was a leather halter top. I said, there's no point in me trying that on. You know I'm not going to get it. But his dejected look convinced me to put it on for just a couple moments. There was a multitude of metal fasteners that confused me, so I required his assistance in adjusting it. Then he turned me around into the mirror, and I saw a slutty vixen looking back at me. She had power. He said, you should get in touch with your inner dominatrix. I was tempted. For a moment, I really thought about it. And then my mind played a video of a cow hanging upside down in her last living moments. We all play these kind of videos in our minds sometimes. I knew that day that I could never parade around in someone else's skin and expect a man to take me seriously in my own. And I know you all just felt the rain, so that's the animals reminding us to wipe the raindrops off your nose for them and off your eyes. Thank you.
I'm a lifelong vegan, and sometimes I feel like I haven't had the same experiences as everybody else. But I build bridges with other people because I think I have something valuable to share. So I should tell you a little bit about my parents. My parents dated in the late 50s. My mom was in England, very skeptical of veganism, but she was a vegetarian. My dad, after touring that slaughterhouse, was absolutely certain that being vegan was the way to go. So he formed the American Vegan Society in 1960, in February. And then my mom came and she married him on August 1st of 1960. As a child, I had the fun of going to lectures with my father. He would ask me to write his notes on index cards and help him organize his thoughts. Index cards sort of like this. Lots of words on them. The type of things contained on those cards are things such as health is the condition of your body or mind. So wealth is a measure of abundance. And then wisdom is the ability to put the knowledge we have understood into practice daily. This is World Vegan Month, November. But when you go home, I ask you to mark your calendars for next November, November 2nd, in fact. It's Dynamic Harmlessness Day. Again, that means to do the least harm and the most good. It's really an awareness day, because you should do that every day. We should all do that. And we have a student who's running that campaign for us to help make it cool for young people to do dynamic harmlessness. On our website, AmericanVegan.org, you can look up dynamic harmlessness, and you'll find many quotes that will inspire you to action. Let me share with you another quote from my father, one of my favorite quotes. To understand the feelings and thoughts of another, we need compassion. To adequately assess another's circumstances and be motivated to render meaningful assistance, we should attempt to walk in the shoes, hooves, paws, or fins of another, to see things from another angle and viewpoint. When I was working on the book, Howard Lyman shared with me a wonderful story. It actually jogged my memory back to many, many years ago, shortly after my father died. And Howard came to me and he told me this story. Now, he's a fourth-generation cattle rancher from Montana. And he said that when he switched to being a vegan advocate, he was at his first vegan or vegetarian gathering, and he was a little intimidated by the group and wondered what he was going to possibly say to them. My father just calmly said to tell them where you came from and why you are here. And I think that's something for a lot of people to remember, that we all have a journey. Maybe you're beginning a journey, maybe you're further along on it, but just to tell your story. Everybody has a really powerful story. I feel like I don't have that powerful of a story because I'm a lifelong vegan. But most of the people in this room have the opportunity to make a difference in their lives and make those powerful changes, and then have a really unique, fun story to inspire others. We've been working on the American Vegan Society's website, and so we just launched a new version of it, and it highlights our Vegan Generation campaign. It's called Vegan Generation to the Third Power. So the 3 indicates the ripple effect of our actions. The 3 also reminds people that we often need to hear about things from 3 different sources before we really believe them or before we're inspired to act. And we serve to connect people with resources. If somebody's already vegan, then the Vegan Generation campaign encourages you to do 3 welcoming actions. What do you do with those books on veganism that are sitting on your shelf? Maybe you loan them to other people. Maybe you invite those people to dinner. Maybe you take them food shopping. But recently I was talking with a lady who hung out after a talk, and she said, I know I need to be vegan. I heard your lecture. Now tell me to be vegan. I said, no. Tell me a little about yourself. And she said, I'm having difficulty giving up my cheese. I said, well, that's a very common difficulty. I'm just going to ask you to change one word. Just say, I'm having difficulty giving up cheese. And then think about whose cheese that really is. In 1975 was the World Vegetarian Congress. It was an event that my dad was a co-organizer. And Tom Regan shared with me a memory from that. He said that J. Dinshah needed a large canvas on which to paint his picture of the world, complete with a hearse, speakers, flowers. He invited thousands of people to attend the event in person in the stadium, and millions watched on the network TV. My dad knew that veganism was good for the animals, but with Funeral for Famine, he painted a picture so people could see it was also good for humanity and good for the environment as well. But not all of his stories were blatantly vegan ones. One of his favorite stories to tell me as a child was not about the Titanic, but about the Carpathia. The captain of the ocean liner, the Carpathia, turned off all the hot water for his passengers so that he could speed full steam ahead 4 hours to the Titanic wreckage and save 705 passengers. Now, although I'm a rowing coach, I'll probably never be the captain of an ocean liner. But what I can do is throw great dinner parties. And I ask people, what are your 3 favorite vegetables? So they look forward to coming because they know they'll have something they enjoy. Tonight is the 7th of 10 lectures that I'm doing on a 24-day tour. When I left my son, Clint, at the airport, he didn't want to let go of me. He's only 3, and I take him to animal sanctuaries. He knows how it is when you hug a cow or a pig. I told him that the animals need me now more than he does, because who's going to speak for the animals? He makes those connections. I've asked him, why are we vegan? He says the animals don't want us to eat them. They want to do fun things. If we eat them, they will be dead. And then they won't be able to do fun things. Did you know that the Veg Fest in Toronto is now a 3-day event? 40,000 people come to that Veg Fest. But the person who started it took 10 years to become vegan. And he credits my dad for influencing him. And think how many Veg Fests there are now scattered throughout the world. So I don't fault anyone if it takes a while to become vegan. You can still do great things. We all just do what we can do. Recently at a Veg Fest, I met a girl who's vegetarian. She was young and vibrant, and she asked where I was living, and she said, yes, I'm moving out to the country. I'll be your neighbor. I'm in the next town over. I'm going to start a humane egg farm. I said, really? That's great. Tell me more about it. I said, who makes the eggs? Because I've never had a humane egg farm. I don't know. Is it the males or the females? She said, why, the females, of course. Happily sharing her information. I said, oh, what happens to the male chicks? She did not know. So I asked if she wanted to know. And now she's vegan. It's the same thing with humane milk. There isn't really such a thing. What happens to the male calves? And for how long do the females have a life of servitude? And at what age do they go to slaughter? My dad witnessed those cows. He was inspired by their experience. So my dad knew how to lighten up a room. He would say something like, aren't you glad Edison invented the light bulb? Because otherwise we'd be watching TV by candlelight. If you ever wish to have a mentor, a friend, or a resource, let me share with you my father. Many consider him to be the father of the modern vegan movement in America. When the going gets tough, think of the animals. Think of the people in darkness and the animals full of fear. Ahimsa will light the way. Dynamic harmlessness means to do the least harm and the most good. Helping others is the best way to find true happiness. Remember that all animal products come from suffering. And the animals don't care why you don't eat them. If you choose for health or ethical reasons or the environment. But you might want to know that animal production is the #1 cause of global warming. And although the world is getting warmer, You may occasionally still have a cold shower. If you're a little uncomfortable in that shower, you'll remember my dad and the Carpathia. The world is like an ocean liner. Some people think we're sinking. Are you going to fix the leak or rearrange the deck chairs? So all of you can open your eyes. Open your eyes to a world of possibility through dynamic harmlessness. Do the least harm and the most good. Think of your best talents and your favorite activities. Take action with your forks and your dollars.
J. Dinshah founded American Vegan Society in New Jersey in 1960. And just a little while later, Freya came around, got married, and they've been running American Vegan Society ever since. Continuous operation. That's amazing. And Freya edits for many, many years American Vegan Magazine. Now, I've done magazines, and they are, you just have to really hunker down and do them. With great, great pleasure, I give you Freya Dinshah. Let's give a hand to Freya.
Hello, friends.
Hello!
We're here today because we hear the cries of the animals on the farms, in the factory farms and in the fields. We hear the cows from whom we take their milk. It is not freely given. We steal their milk from their calves and take it for ourselves. We hear the cries of the cows. We hear the pigs who suffer and live very short lives. They're killed for their meat. They're killed for their leather. These very intelligent animals who are very dear if you get to know them. We hear the cries of the pigs. We hear the cries of the chickens, the egg-laying hens. We hear their cries. We know they're suffering in abominable conditions, and we're here to witness for them. We hear the cries of the sheep who are raised for meat and wool. There is no innocent byproduct of animal raising and animal keeping. The sheep suffer when the wool's taken from them, very often at the time of slaughter. We hear the cries of the sheep. Now we know there's something we can do about it, and the solution rests with each of us. We hold the key to stopping the suffering of the animals. We must refuse to eat them. We must refuse to wear them. Thank you.
You'll have the wisdom to make those good decisions every day. And remember that just like you, the animals want to do fun things. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ann Dinshah, for the interesting presentation. And we'd like to invite you to have some delicious vegan food courtesy of Down to Earth over in the kitchen. And please remember not to bring the food back here on these beautiful wood floors. So thank you everyone for coming, and have a safe return home. Mahalo. Good night, everyone.
This program is brought to you by the Vegetarian Society of Hawaii, a nonprofit organization dedicated to sharing with the community the many benefits of a vegetarian diet. Free monthly meetings include vegetarian experts found locally and on the mainland, quick and easy cooking demonstrations, and healthful and delicious food samples. Members enjoy an informative quarterly newsletter, social activities, and discounts at many vegetarian-friendly restaurants and health food stores. For an application, call 944-8344. That's 944-8344. Or visit our website at www.vsh.org. vsh.org.